We're back here with another episode of the Loyal Sons Forever True podcast. We're on episode 11. I'm Carson Hansen.
And I'm Aiden Gilmore. And today we have a special guest, I don't even know how to pronounce your last name. Cantrell or Cantrell?
Cantrell.
Cantrell?
I like it Cantrell. My grandpa will tell you Cantrell, though.
Cantrell?
I like it Cantrell, though.
I was in between two, so I guess I could be in your family. I know both of them.
Yeah.
He's a quarterback at Iowa State. He just got here. He early enrolled. He's from Norman, Oklahoma.
Washington. Yeah.
Whoa.
Pretty close.
Pretty close, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So, to start off, just what's your testimony? How'd you come to Christ?
Yeah. Testimony, is really, the definition of testimony is really like, you're not with Christ. You're not you're not necessarily not right with Christ. So, started out, I grew up in a Christian home, went to church. I was always known as like the church kid, going to church every Wednesday, every Sunday, and it was kind of like get to the point where I was at a young age just like living on my mom's faith a little bit, Like I don't know if you guys experienced that, but my siblings were getting baptized, and that was like kind of weird to like, because even my younger sibling was getting baptized before I was, and it was a little bit just kind of like, well, maybe I should look into this a little bit, and then I was kind of like going through the motions, living my life, just kind of like things of this world. Junior high came around, really like trying to fit in, and then like really as Christians, like my mom, she'd always speak really good wisdom into me and really make sure that she really hold me accountable with reading my Bible and make sure I was pursuing my relationship with Christ. And then really like junior high, it was kind of like the turning point a little bit of like things started kind of going downhill a little bit. Just trying to fit in, trying to do things that, that was not pleasing to God and is not what He has me on this earth to do. There was a lot of struggles, a lot of distractions. Everyone faces it, but we're not made to really fit in this world. Like this is not our home as Christians, as followers. Our home's eternal, but we have a mission here. And I went to going into I think it was fast forward high school, sophomore year, went to this camp called FCA camp. It was like one of the greatest camps I've ever been to. My guy JT, Jeremy Tim, shout out. He's my neighbor. He's the FCA director for Oklahoma. He's like, yo, come to this camp. I was like, all right, I'm there. And then my mom grew up going to that camp too. So I had never been. I've always gone to Falls Creek. It's like a really big church camp in Oklahoma. Like thousands of kids go. And that was kind of like the come to know Christ camp. It was like you get saved, but like FCA camp's like that next step type. It's like how can we grow this and make this a real relationship? Mm-hmm. And so going into that camp, I was really open-minded. I just kind of prayed, and I was like, God, like light a fire in my heart, and like I pray it goes wild, invade my heart and take control of my life. And that's what He did that camp, and He did so many, changed so many hearts, changed my heart, and realizing that I'm a sinner and that I'm in need of a Savior, that was huge for me because I know that I can't do it alone. I can't do this world alone. I need Christ every day. And what my favorite verse is Galatians 2:20. It says, I've been crucified with Christ, and I no longer live, but Christ lives in me. The life I live in the body, I live by faith in the Son of God who loved me and gave Himself for me. That verse is like really key because it's like, okay, it's my turn to live my life for Christ because He died for mine. And that's like our sacrificial way. That's our sacrifice as He sacrificed His. So that's our biggest way of worship. And, they've been talking about that at Cornerstone a lot, blue team and red team. I don't know if you guys heard that, but, being a representation and like if people see God, people can't see God directly, but they can see a reflection of you in God if you're living your life. And that's, that's something huge. So that's pretty much my testimony.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I like when you were talking about. I pulled up a verse, Galatians 1:10. For I am now seeking the approval of man or of God. He's asking a question. Or am I trying to please man? If I were still trying to please man, I would not be a servant of Christ. So I think that was just kind of one thing. Like when you're going through junior high, you were kind of trying to fit in, and like that was kind of something for you. And then you're at that camp, and you're like, all right, like no one's opinion matters, like except for God. And I think that's really cool to kind of see that and like have that mindset of like I don't really care what anyone else thinks like about me, and it's really just like what God thinks about me.
Right.
And he loves me, like he sent his son, so like I don't have anything to be worried about, and I'm just gonna keep going deeper with him.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's good. And so today's podcast, we're kind of going to go into like how God is almighty, God is all powerful. And starting off with Genesis 1, the very first verses, um, God created
Yeah.
the heavens and earth, right?
Let me read. Yeah.
Yeah.
Genesis 1, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. The earth was without form and void, and darkness was over the face of the depth. The Spirit of God was hovering over the face of the waters. Yeah, so that's 1 and 2. And
Yeah, we're just going to go over like, that depiction of, God creating heaven, which is technically his home. And it's just almost unfathomable. Like it's just you can't even think about it because he's so mighty and he's so like I don't even know. Like you can't even comprehend it
yeah,
because like how did he create his own home? Like what was there? What was before that?
Yeah.
Right? Like he is just everything. Like it's what he
Yeah.
is. So I think that's kind of cool to think about. But also, he created this earth, and like we were talking about earlier, before this podcast, sorry, is that like Major said something great was, you know, what did you say? You say it. You say it. God has created like don't worship
Oh yeah,
the
yeah. So yeah, like the creation can be so like let's say like you go on vacation in the mountains or something, going skiing. You're like, oh my goodness, like this is gorgeous, or like I'm in awe of this. Like it's really important to not worship the creation, but to worship the Creator, and that's something that it's easy to fall into a little bit, even with like just like plenty of distractions that we're in. Like girls, girls are
Yeah.
beautiful, women are beautiful, but it's easy to fall into that. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
yeah. I think it's like good to like kind of like just think about and kind of yeah, just think about like his creation and kind of just it's kind of a testament to his mighty power, like what he's created and everything like that. But yeah, what he said, like don't make it an idol. Like I would say you'd say in some jobs today, like I would say that idolize the creation over the creator.
Yeah.
And that's kind of something kind of what we wanted to get into was like you can't make anything out of nothing. And
yeah,
so like you just like worship the creator instead of worshiping the creation and being like, "Oh, well the universe told me this." Like the universe is like going to tell
Yeah.
me these like secret things. No, it's like no, it's God. Like say there's a painter, there's a painting, and so there's a painter for the painting.
Yeah.
So with there's creation, there's a creator.
Creator.
And
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a great way to put it, especially with those like Cliff arguments. Ask Cliff,
mm-hmm.
and he goes around college campuses, and atheists will ask him like,
Yeah.
"How do you know there is a God?" And it's just like, "Well, we're alive, and there's living things on this planet, and this planet was created, and this galaxy was created, and you keep going back farther and farther and farther, and it was like, all right, well, someone had to create it. It
Yeah.
doesn't just pop into space like the Big Bang Theory, like." The Big Bang Theory just, I feel like to me, just totally just proves how God created the world. Like he, grabbed all these particles and just slapped them together. Just like, this is what he does. He can do anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
He's almighty.
it's like it actually is impossible to like avoid God because of his creation. And like it's also really awesome to recognize God through His creation too. And there's like a connectiveness too. Like if you just like go fishing in the river or something,
Yeah.
like something about that. You just feel like God's sitting right next to you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's what he did. Yeah. The water, the fish, the trees, the wind.
Yeah.
It's just crazy to think about.
And it leaves you in awe. It really does.
Yeah, it
Like,
does,
That's
yeah.
what we're talking about.
Yeah.
And it's truly is beautiful, and it's crazy because like once you have it in that mindset, like how much He sees us, like He's in awe of us too. Like and He, like obviously we fail Him every day, but like He loves us so much that He's given us second chances all the time, and He sees us like just as beautiful, if not even more than
Yeah.
He sees us more than that creation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And it's important to think about how, because sometimes I feel like a lot of people, everyone, that we could look at God and kind of be like, He doesn't really need us, right?
Mhm.
Even though He created us for a purpose. Like
Right.
everything He's created on this earth has its own purpose.
Uh-huh.
And sometimes it's easy to leave ourselves out of that,
Right.
you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think when we were talking about this before the podcast was like there's a God, there's an infinite being that created us, and there's how many billions of people on this earth, and we're just like one person, but God like wants a relationship with each one of us,
Mm-hmm.
and He cares so deeply about each one of us, and it's kind of like crazy to think about because we can't even manage five friendships
Yeah.
or one relationship with a girlfriend, like,
Yeah.
and so like that's really cool to think about, and like He knows the number of hairs on your head,
Yeah.
like it's crazy. So
Yeah.
It is cool to think about how powerful and how all knowing He is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And, that's just another form to, I did hear somewhere that sometimes to get in the presence of God and to pray and to like meditate in His word, sometimes we just have to sit there. And I do this at night sometimes. Like I will just literally think about like His hands, like creating everything,
Yeah.
just to like remind myself that He can create everything. He can change anything. He can change your situation. That's how powerful He is. Like if He's powerful enough to literally create a world or literally to create people, then He has enough power to get me through a certain situation, which we forget that.
Yeah.
We do.
yeah,
And if you read through like Genesis 1, it always talks about like God's creation, and then He says it is good. Like He said
Yeah.
that after, and how everything is created is good. And it's
Yeah.
like in a world such an evil, like there is good in this world. But like it's tough because our mission on this earth and stuff, like it's not, like I said in my testimony, like this is not our home, but like God has called us to the mission, and we can use His creation through that too.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
It's a good way to put it.
I think just go back. So He created everything, like it was good until the fall, and then it was not so good. It kind of like disrupted our connection with Him. And then throughout the Old Testament, He was righteous and just towards people's sins, so He punished them for it. And then He sent a Savior, Jesus, so that Jesus was the bridge back to Him. So as long as we accept Him as our Savior, then He's our bridge back to God. So that's kind of something I want to talk about, was just combining how holy He is, just like the awe of His creation, like how He just made all these things, and how holy He is and righteous. And then also in the New Testament, just like going over how much He loves us, how much He deeply cares about us. And like, it's not just like Old Testament and New Testament, like it's the same God. Like Old Testament and New Testament, He's the same God, yesterday, today, and forever. So maybe if we just want to like talk about that a little bit. And
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. 'Cause God is just, again, like I keep saying, He's almighty. And so technically, what you were saying is, relating, the Old Testament to the New Testament. Really, God can just do anything to like with anyone. So like, you can even show how, the prophets in the Old Testament, how He used them and showed His love through them. And then, ultimately it led all the way up to Jesus. And the craziest part is that all those people, all those prophets showed signs that Jesus was coming.
Yeah.
And he loved us so much that he took so much time in history and took so many people to show everyone like signs that, hey, Jesus is going to come. Like it's going to be basically him in human form. And I feel like sometimes we just forget how loving and how powerful he is because he
what
can.
a gift it is.
What a gift it is because it's just truly incredible that he created a whole book for us to read to get to know him and know his story and how it could even be like God's thought process of what he was doing to save us and to save the world. And it is cool because it's kind of like a love story and it's also kind of like a heroic book,
Yeah.
And in the end, I mean, of course, it has its scary parts, but if you do it right, have a relationship with them, it's a happy ending.
Yeah, and we were at Salt the other night. Mark was talking about our walk with Christ and what that looks like, and it was really awesome. It was like, he was telling the story about this guy that he knew, and he was going to a little picnic and with two parents, and then their daughter came along. He said it was like the most beautiful girl he's ever seen. He said she asked him to take a walk with him, and he was like nervous as heck. And he's like, when the most beautiful thing asks you to take a walk, like you're gonna take a walk. And it's like comparing that to Jesus. Like Jesus asked us to take a walk with him and have a relationship with him, and like the answer is gonna be yes, obviously. Like when the most beautiful thing, and he asked of that, and it's really easy to fall off of that too, off that walk. But I feel like the faster you walk with Jesus, like, or you're running a race, let's say it this way, you're running a race, and the faster you run, the harder it is to slow down. And like you can put that's like a metaphor, obviously.
Yeah.
But like with your walk with Christ and that, if you just like chase God and like desire that, and you recognize that you're in desperate need of Jesus, like it's really gonna be hard to slow down. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah. That's good. It's really good. Yeah.
Well, do we have anything else?
I would just say this, like, just ending kind of that topic of like combining his holiness and love into one. I've been kind of reflecting on this. Like, I feel like every morning when I wake up, like, have the thought of, Lord, like throughout the day, Lord, let me fear you. Like, let me see you as like holy and righteous. But also, I want to see like, Lord, how much you love me, like how much you truly love me, and just everything like that. Because, like, we had to have both sides of the thing. Because I feel like in churches, it's like, I feel like we're only preaching love, and I feel like we're not preaching enough of the fear of God. Um, and that's kind of, it's okay at times. It's okay when people are in situations where they like feel unworthy of His love or they're too far gone in their sins.
Yeah. I feel like churches do that just because like they want people to feel loved and welcomed. But also for the people that have already accepted Christ, you need to understand that God can literally do anything. And so like if you like drift off that path, he can like punish you for that. So
Right.
like you just need to know that you should fear him. So like I like your point.
Yeah.
And I think that should be preached a little bit more. Like
Yeah.
I agree with you.
Like, don't, like, stop testing His patience.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, for sure.
don't test His patience, because he could strike you down at any minute. So, just having like the fear of Him and just being in awe of Him, and then also like knowing, like truly knowing how much He loves you, and it's hard to comprehend that. Like, as a human being, it's
Yeah.
hard to comprehend that.
and we're all very selfish, so that comes with humility and
Yeah.
humbling yourself before
Yeah.
God and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we forget. We
Uh-huh.
forget. Yeah.
Random thing.
Yeah.
Little random thing.
Random question.
Maybe like a lame fact or something. I don't know.
I could just say this. Money doesn't matter. What car are you going to get? Like, what car are you gonna get?
Oh, probably a Ford F-150.
Really?
Just
All the money, like, so like,
You
all right,
already
let's just
have
say,
one.
let's just
I
say,
know,
I know, but let's just say, like, all right, you get the choice of one car,
Okay.
one car,
I would just go a Maserati.
a Maserati.
Wow.
No way.
Yeah.
What about those like cars that like are also boats? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Those
that's
are
not
fire.
that bad of an
Those are
idea.
fire.
I see there's like a Jeep that can do that now.
Yeah. So like, if you're driving, you're like, hey man, go for a little boat ride.
That'd be cool.
That
Yeah.
would be cool. I'd have to go with
Bring the poles. You know.
I'd have to go with a Bentley SUV.
Would you need a boat license for that, or would you just need a
Probably.
driver's license?
Probably.
Probably haven't made that yet. It's
Probably.
like a hybrid.
Hybrid.
Yeah.
That's funny.
That's crazy.
Yeah. That would be cool though.
Mhm.
I've seen that
What'd you
before.
say?
I said a Bentley SUV. That's one of my favorite car ever.
Yes.
It's just so clean. So clean of a look.
I know those things are really expensive.
Yeah. Maseratis,
I don't know. I don't know I don't think they're that expensive.
they're probably like 150.
I'm gonna look it up quick.
Maseratis, you can get like a used one for like 30K.
What?
They're not that crazy.
Maserati. Oh yeah, yeah. A nice one's like 158,
Yeah. You know what's ridiculous though?
100.
I feel like the Lambo like SUV, like that thing is literally like 400 grand, and I was like, and it's way smaller and way more just way less room,
Yeah.
and I was like Bentley SUV. I feel like
Are you getting the stars?
the stars.
Like the stars in the roof?
No, that's a Rolls Royce.
Yeah, but you could get it in any car.
No,
No.
I'm not getting the stars.
All right.
All right, guys.
All right.
See you guys in the next one.
Appreciate you.